Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Back to my good friend Omar, my real estate entrepreneur. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well. So this is a conversation I've been waiting to have for you. It's kind of been it's on deck, and I'm taking it, off the shelf, and I'm going to ask you right here. And it's something that I've been thinking about as I write this second book, and that is, why the hell do we do what we do, right? Because both you and I could be doing other things. We certainly could de-stress our lives. We could be less busy, but I thought I'd ask another successful guy why he does what he does. So why do you do what you do? Why do you got a business and flipping and helping people and all that stuff?
It initially, it was, for the money, like everybody else. You get in the real estate business, make some commission checks. Now you start, making money to buy things, to do this, to do that. Fast forward 10 years, you start understanding that you're doing it to help people and you to make an impact in somebody else's life that will, they'll remember you. My whole thing is, when I first bought my house at 24, I got licensed at 23, bought my first house at 24. I was like, this is dope. I bought a house. I bought a fucking house.
Yeah.
And with an 80-20 loan, I wasn't making any money. This is when, 2002, 2003 or something like that, before the craziness happened at that first time. And after all of that, it's like, I wanted to have that feeling for other people when they obtained home ownership initially, and then now it's like, I want to be able to help sellers and buyers. Sellers get the most money, but at the same time, help my team see what's possible. Hey, if you do this, this, and this, now I'm giving back. Because I tell them all the time, it's like, hey, later on, 5 years from now, you learn all this stuff from me and you're not here. Well, guess what? I impacted your life. So then down the road, you're able to impact somebody else's based on the stuff that you listened to and you learned.
Yeah.
And now the reason I do it, the biggest why, obviously family.
Yeah.
My daughters, my 14-year-old daughter and Gianna, who's a year old. I mean, they're going to have trusts that are going to be perfect, and they're going to have all this real estate they're not going to know what the hell to do with, which is awesome. Fine. I'd rather have them have options because, we're doing this for our family. We're doing it for us while we live in it. But now it's about being able to give back. And now this aspect of helping so many owners, like when I buy somebody's home, I give them another chapter.
Right.
I start another chapter in their book because this chapter now can turn the page. They receive some compensation. They can start a fresh life. They can do this. They can do that. Trust me, this is how I see it. There's always a silver lining. As long as you look for it and it's not negative. Oh, you screwed that guy over. No, I didn't. Do you know his whole process?
Yeah.
Do you know everything about him? No, you don't. So shut your mouth.
Yeah. He signed. People don't sign unless they're happy with the agreement.
Exactly. And because you provided value. So now it's like, it's a whole different format. It's being able to employ people and give them a great life and help my agents. Yeah. So now this is why we're doing it. I appreciate you having me on the call. Now I get to share my feelings with Michael, and Michael gets to share what he's done and learned in the last, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
And this is why we're doing it now.
Yeah. The big reason for me when I started all this, honestly, this is going to probably sound bad to some people, is I didn't want to get another job. And it really was that simple.
Simple.
Right. I didn't want to get a job. So I left my job. We were already financially free. I don't have any big wants or needs, but I'm a type A guy that has to feel like he's contributing every day, or I feel like a failure. So I leave. I have a couple of days of excitement because, you're 45 and you've exited the rat race, right? You win. Yay. But what happens when you're 45 and a type A personality is about 3 or 4 days in, you start getting depressed. I got depressed for the first time in my life, and it got worse and worse and worse. Omar, it got so bad that I was a weekend away from getting a job, not because I needed the money, but just because I didn't want to feel like a failure.
You wanted something to do.
Yeah. I didn't want to feel like a failure. So that's where one rental at a time was born. It's enough for me to do these in the morning because you and I will be done by 10:15. And then I do the rest of my day, whatever I want the rest of the day. I do all my YouTube stuff in the morning. And I just had to feel like I was contributing. That's what it started. And then it grew into, hey, I want to do something that lives 50 years past my death. Right? I want to have people say, this book helped me or inspired me long after I'm dead and buried or burned up or whatever they're going to do with me. That's it for me. I mean, it really was. I don't want to feel like a failure getting a job. That's why I started. It's crazy.
Damn. So simple too. It's like, no, I'm done. But see, and you started later though.
Yeah.
Like you were already in the sales business and you were managing teams and everything else. And you're like, done. So that wall you hit was different for a lot of people. I mean, but see, like majority of people have the 9 to 5 or they have teams and and you do well. You were financially free based on some of your investments and stuff too. And then when you said I was done, now I'm going to go full time and, one rental at a time, let me get some more rentals.
Yeah. Boom. Idea was born. Yeah. It's crazy.
And the idea was born. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Again, the big thing I love about all my experts, all 7 or 8 multimillionaires that I speak with weekly. And it's crazy to think about this channel has 8 multimillionaires that I speak to weekly for an hour.
That's cool. So cool.
No other channel has that. Is that we'll talk about anything, right? And here we're talking about the whys that we do what we want for you, it's your daughters and helping others and growing a team. But for me, it goes back to conversation one is I want people to realize that there's hope out there, right? One of my guys I talked with right before you is a 9th grade dropout. Another one grew up in Section 8 housing. Another one myself was married at 19, all things that weren't supposed to lead to success. But because they were willing to do the work, and see a better future, it's interesting. So I just wanted to ask about your why. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Michael. Yeah. And it's changing,
Yeah.
It's directed for what you want to do, but it does change. It's the ultimate goal is still there for my daughters, but now it's like, I want to impact more people. Yeah. I want to share how everything turned out. and I'm continuously growing as well. So everything it's not just stopping. It's like, I'll spend the money to go learn from somebody that knows more. Right. Like, I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, folks. Really, when you understand your why, it's actually in my course, but at the very end, it's like, what's your why? Because again, I want you to do the work right up front.
Right.
But it's an interesting thing to think about, right? It's like, it's like, why am I doing this YouTube thing 7 days a week, 5 pieces of content? It's all because I didn't want to get a job. I just didn't want a job. I think that's funny.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. This is awesome.
That's hilarious. Well, do me a favor, folks. If you're down in the high desert area and want to be part of the #1 team down there, you've got to reach out to Omar. How do you want them to do that, buddy?
Message me, guys, on IG at Omar_Alfaro. A few of you guys have. I message you back as well. Hopefully I can answer any other questions you guys have.
That's great, man. And folks, we have an entire playlist dedicated to Omar on this channel. I bet you there's 100 hours of our content, just raw emotional stuff. If you ever need to pick me up, Omar's the guy to listen to. So thank you for all you do, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Yep.